course, it's time for the nation's favourite radio feature. We pit two MPs against each other to find out who represents the crown jewel of constituencies and who's from a rotten borough. Let's start with contestant number one. What's your name and where'd you come from?
Well, good morning. It's David Simmonds. My constituency is Ruislip, Northwood and Pinnock, which is in northwest London. And my first fact is that
you can't start with a fact yet, David.
Sorry, I thought we were going straight.
You can't start with a fact yet. I will explain how it works in a second.
Okay.
Contestant number two, what's your name and where'd you come from?
Sam Rushworth, Bishop Auckland in County Durham.
Brilliant. Just to be clear, David is a Conservative and Sam is Labour. David, back to you. The point about this bit of the show is not just for you to brag about your constituency, but it's also for you to brag about yourself, because as a paid-up member of the MP and ex-MP trade union, I feel very strongly that backbench MPs should have their day in the sun, tell us how hard they work and what they're working on. So your first job is to tell us what's in your post bag and what you're campaigning on in Ruislip.
Well, there's always lots going on. Luckily, it's a constituency that's got really fantastic residents' associations. But we've got a bit of an issue at the moment in that under this Labour government, they've made a decision to close the minor injuries unit at our local hospital, which is much used by local schools and particularly by our older residents. And it seems a bit of a strange thing to do because the new NHS 10-year plan says that this type of unit is a really important way of keeping people out of A&E. The local hospital where the A&E is due to be rebuilt at a different site, which means it's going to be much more difficult to get there, to park, to travel than has been the case historically. So a big part of my campaigning is about trying to deal with that issue.
Fantastic. And just not strictly on your constituency, but the Sunday Times has today revealed that Durham is a better university than Oxford and Cambridge. You're a Durham graduate. Would you like to brag about Durham as well?
Well, Durham's a fantastic place. And I know I have family connections not too far from that area in North Yorkshire, which is kind of part of the beautiful north of England. I think we are lucky to live in a country with such beautiful and diverse landscapes. And a strange fact, something Sam and I both have in common, which is we spoke in favour at a recent Westminster debate of maintaining grouse moors, because we know how important that landscape is. I have one of England's oldest shotgun makers in my constituency. I know I personally don't go shooting other than clay pigeons, but it was great to be there with a Labour MP, someone from the other side who represents an area with that level of rurality. Knowing that my constituents think that is important, part of our national heritage, and Sam was there to speak up for his local people as well. So
and you slipped in a free fact there, David. Let's turn now to Sam Rushworth, the new Labour MP for Bishop Auckland. You took it back from the Conservatives after they'd taken it from Labour. Welcome to the show. Tell us what's in your post bag, what you're campaigning on in Bishop Auckland.
A few things. The biggest one is local economic growth. So I just had a meeting with the person responsible for that at county council level. We're looking at things like how to get the best out of the opportunities that lithium in our area provides, all the way through to a discussion we just had about the high street and specific buildings and that are empty and what we'd like to do to really boost our local high street and our tourism offer in the area. I think the other one that I'm really focused on is making sure that the free breakfast clubs that this government's introduced are getting rolled out into more schools.
Brilliant, well done. And it's not actually in one of your facts, but I've been to Bishop Auckland because you've got an amazing Bishop's Palace there, which has been saved by a philanthropist and now contains lots of, I think, 18th century Spanish paintings. Is that doing well?
That's right. So off the marketplace, we've got the Palace Bishop Auckland. So Durham was once upon a time not under the monarchy; it was under the Prince Bishops, and it still is the home of the Bishop of Durham, who's fourth in the Church of England. And so we've got the National Faith Museum, a Miners Art Gallery, a Spanish art gallery. It's not one of my facts, but it's a great place to visit.
I've just realised that David's a Durham graduate, and you're basically Bishop Auckland is sort of out of Durham, isn't it?
It is indeed, and I worked for Durham University until last July when I was elected.
Because my son is going to Durham, so I was going to give it to David, but now we're on a level playing field since you've both got Durham connections. Now, David,
that saved me.
We're back on a level playing field. I'm not going to rig the contest in your favour. It's completely back to level pegging. Let's start with your first fact.
Of all the great things to do, we have the loveliest and the only sandy beach in Greater London. There's a miniature steam railway. There's a fantastic cafe. You're surrounded by ancient woodland that once supplied oak to construct part of the roof of Westminster Hall and the Houses of Parliament. So you can come and build a sandcastle and have a walk, watch the waves, and it's a beautiful tourist attraction which gets people coming from as far away as Birmingham and Coventry and Sheffield on a sunny day.
You've got a beach?
Yes, Ruislip Lido. So it was originally built historically as a lake, part of the construction of the Grand Union Canal, and it is a very popular tourist attraction to this day.
And you've got the oak trees that supplied the roof of Westminster Hall.
Yeah, so Ruislip Woods, which is ancient woodland, we can see in the manorial records that when William the Conqueror came over and said, right, I'm going to build the greatest palace in Europe to show what a powerful ruler I am, he summoned all the best materials that he could find from all over the place. And amongst the suppliers, the wood that went into what is still one of the main attractions of the Palace of Westminster.
Sam, how are you going to come back from that? I mean, we all point at the roof of Westminster Hall when we take our mates round.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned steam trains. The first ever commercial passenger railway was in my constituency. So the town of Shildon is the world's first railway town. And this very month, we're celebrating the 200th anniversary of when Locomotion 1 went out of Shildon towards Darlington on the Stockton-Darlington railway line. So it's a town that was built around the railways and a town that actually built the railways.
Amazing. I don't know what to say. But I think I'm going to give the first fact to David, because I think a northern constituency with a railway heritage is relatively common, but a beach in London, never heard of it. So in terms of just surprising me, David wins the first round. David, give us your second fact.
So everybody likes a trivia question, and one of the useful things you might want to know for a pub quiz is what is the most common name found for stations on the London Tube network? And the answer to that is Ruislip. So there are more Ruislip stations than there are of any other part of London. So it's a useful fact for winning pub quizzes. Your son will use it when he goes to Durham. He gets asked that question.
How many Ruislip stations are there?
There are 5 stations. You've got West Ruislip, Ruislip Manor, Ruislip itself, South Ruislip and Ruislip Gardens.
David, you're in a lot... Sam, you're in a lot of trouble. Can you come back from that?
I think I can. Your listeners will be familiar with the great British anthem Land of Hope and Glory, composed by Edward Elgar. Well, Elgar was a regular visitor to Bishop Auckland, and his friendship with Nicholas Kilburn, who was a local conductor, led to him visiting the area regularly, and the Music Makers had its first ever performance at Bishop Auckland Town Hall.
Brilliant. It's not as good a fact as David's, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, because you've got Land and Hope and Glory into your answer. And so, that's an anti-woke moment, which we're all in favour of, obviously, on Times Radio. So it's level pegging, despite David's brilliant fact about 5 Ruislip stations. David, can you...
showing your London bias.
Can you win it at the death?
Well, it's going to be a real challenge. So I'm going to talk about Ruislip, in particular being mentioned in the Domesday Book, because we were part of that network of villages. And we've got detailed records. The original manor house and the moated castle, the Motte and Bailey, that were built by William the Conqueror when he sent the people out, are still there. You can visit those to this day. It includes the oldest wallpaper that's left in any building in Greater London. There's lots of local heritage. There's a medieval church just down the road. And it's an opportunity in a part of London that sometimes, like a lot of London suburbs, can feel a bit anonymous, where you can get a real sense of the heritage of our country.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Can you come back, Sam, from that?
Yeah, I mean, you said all northern areas have railway heritage. I think lots of places are in the Domesday Book, but Binchester Roman Fort, which was built in AD 50, known as Venovia in my constituency, has one of the best preserved Roman bathhouses in Europe. And it's where the monk Bede observed the moon and stars as he wrote The Reckoning of Time. And it was that reckoning of time that led to the creation of the modern Gregorian calendar. So the calendar that we use all around the world came from observations in Venovia in Bishop Auckland.
That's amazing. So I can go to this bathhouse, because I'm going up to Darlington next week to deposit the
Yeah, you can come and visit Binchester Roman Fort. You can visit any of the museums, the palace, the deer park, Raby Castle. You could have a good week here and not run out.
Sam, you win it at the death with a useful tourism fact for me. Plus, I studied the Venerable Bede at Oxford, which, of course, is a much better university than Durham, even if Durham is currently winning in 2026. So thank you so much to both of you. That was our brilliant guests. David Simmonds, the Conservative from Ruislip, Northwood and Pinner, although there are 5 Ruislips we found out today. And Sam Rushworth, the Labour MP for Bishop Auckland, who has pointed out that his constituency has one of the best bathhouses in Britain. You've both been fantastic sports. There has to be one winner. Today it is Sam